Hello and welcome to this mobility class, focusing our shoulders, elbows and a tiny bit in our wrists. This is going to be a short class, so we're going to try to move as efficiently as possible throughout each exercise. So in these short classes, I don't really explain much because I'm already assuming that you know about controlled articular rotations, the cars, shoulder capsules, and so on and so on. So I will always try to explain a bit, but I don't really go in deep detail in these shorter classes. What you're going to need 2 balls. If you don't really have myofascial balls, get tennis balls. A yoga block. I have a stick mobility, but if you don't have a stick mobility, it's fair enough, just get the cable of a broom. And I have a light dumbbell, so I have a 2 kilos dumbbell. If you don't really have a smaller or a lighter dumbbell, you can try to go with what you have. If you, don't go with the 10 kilos, but if you have like a 4 or a 6, you can try to give it a go. However, because we are gonna try to build it up slowly, if you don't have anything lighter, maybe I'll just suggest to get maybe like a water bottle or even a pack of rice or something that it will do the job. Or some ankle weights. I always recommend people to have some ankle weights because we do a lot of exercise with ankle weights. So let's start. We are going to start by doing some shoulder cars. So we're going to do 2 on each side, elbow cars, wrist, and then we're going to move into some swimmers, piles and rails on our shoulders, elbows and wrists. So I'm going to put myself on my knees. You can do it standing if you want. If you are on your knees, you can always obviously put a pillow under your knees if you feel that is best for you. And we're going to start, so we're going to do 2 reps of a shoulder car in each side. So we're going to start with the right. So make sure that you squeeze your ball, external rotation, bring to the midline and at your own pace. Move the shoulder into flexion and then slowly find an internal rotation. Keep fighting for more internal rotation at the time that you're moving your arm into extension. Find your hip and reverse into extension. When you can't go further, external rotate. Bring the shoulder up, up. Keep squeezing that ball into the midline. One more time. Let's move to the left side. So I always like to put my opposite hand in my rib cage because it allows me to have the feeling if my body is starting to turn towards the left side. Last rep. Now let's do some elbow. Grab your balls, gently squeeze the balls, external rotate your arms. So place basically your balls are pointing, your balls. Okay, yeah. The palms of your hands are facing forward. And then you're gonna bring them up. When you reach close to your shoulder, you're gonna internal rotate. So like you're gonna pronate, down, and then supinate, up, rotate, pronation, and down. And then we're going to keep in pronation going up, turn those balls up and down, balls to the back, out, down. Now let's move into our wrist. I like to use the ball. Place your forearm close to your upper body. Try to lock your shoulder and your elbow. And let's do 2 clockwise and 2 counterclockwise. Gently rotate, gently squeezing the ball with your fingers. Try to move the wrist through its greatest range of motion. Control the movement. And once you finish 2 on each side, let's move to the left. Exactly the same. 2 clockwise. And 2 counterclockwise. Slowly release. And now we're going to do some swimmers. So for swimmers, we are going to need the balls. And I'm going to show you the first time what we are going to do. So I'm going to show you first the full swimmer. That will be, we're going to lay down on our belly, forehead on the floor. Try to contract as much as possible your lower body to remove it from the movement. We're going to bring the arms up. We're going to gently squeeze the ball, and we're going to have the hands behind the head. And this is how it starts. So we're going to lift away from the head, opening up. From here, we're going to internally rotate, moving the shoulders into the back. Squeeze, 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 squeeze into the back. And then place the back of the hands in the back. And then we're going to reverse. We're going to lift our hands up, squeeze those muscles behind the shoulder blades. Extend the forearms. Externally rotate while bringing the shoulders, the arms up and over, meeting the back of the head. So this is a full swimmer, but we are going to break it in small pieces. So for 60 seconds, we are just going to do the top part of the swimmer, and then we're going to do for 60 seconds the bottom half, which is this. So for 60 seconds, we are going to do from here, lift it up, extend, internally rotate. External rotate, bring the arms overhead, around the head, place it down. Lift it up, extend the arms, internal rotate. External rotate, place it down. So this is the top part of the swimmer that we're going to do for 60 seconds. And then we're going to move to the bottom half, which will be, we're going to have the top part of our hands behind the back. So squeezing the balls are pointing to the ceiling, and you're going to lift the hands away from your lower back. You're going to fully extend, externally rotate. Internal rotate, bring it towards the back, and lower down. And we're going to do this for 60 seconds. And then we are going to move to the full swimmers for 60 seconds. And the shoulders are going to start to be tired. But that's, once again, just fight for the quality and not for the quantity. I like to repeat myself in every single class regarding this matter. So then the last 60 seconds is going to be, I'm going to bring in here, extend the arms, internally rotate, bring the arms into the back, lower them down into lower back, lift them up, extend, externally rotate, bring behind the head, lower down. And it's going to be the final 60 seconds. So get yourself ready. Sorry, the microphone is not cooperating today. Find something that you can also do it without squeezing anything in the hands. I like to squeeze because it does create more tension, so I am able to move more into internal rotation, more into external rotation. So let's see, it's like we're using it to create an internal load into our tissues and to isolate other parts more from entering the movement. And make sure that you are squeezing your lower part of your body to make sure that you are not wriggling around. You just really want the movement to come from your shoulders. Forehead touching on the floor. If you feel that is a bit claustrophobic, you can fold a towel to place it on the top of your forehead, but your cervical should be straight. Okay, so I'm going to put the timer, and I'm going to put the timer if it decides to work. And we are going for 60 seconds. Just the top part. So place the hands behind the head, lift them up, open up the arms, internally rotate, external rotate, bring the arms, bend the elbows, fight for the height, place the hands behind the back of the head, lift it up one more time, extend the arms, internally rotate, externally rotate, bring the hands behind the head, place it down. Lift them up, extend the elbows, internally rotate, externally rotate. Keep fighting for that height, place the hands on the back of the head. Keep going. Lift the arms up, extend, internally rotate, externally rotate, bring, fight for the height. Don't allow the arms to start to collapse. Place behind the head and release. So now we're going to move to our bottom part. So place the hands behind your lower back with the balls, the palms of your hands are pointing into the ceiling. And now lift away from your lower back, extend the elbows, externally rotate, internally rotate, bend the elbows, try to not touch the lower back, and then lower down. Lift it up, extend your elbows, external rotate, internal rotate, move the arms towards your lower back. Don't touch your lower back, place it down. Lift the hands up, extend, externally rotate, internal rotate, bend the elbows, bring the arms, fight for the height, don't allow it to fall, lower down into your lower back. One last time. Bring the hands up, extend the forearms, and the elbows, place it on the lower back. And now we are going to move towards the full expression of the swimmers for 60 seconds. So you probably feel that it's really hard, like how hard it is to actually keep our hands above the back of our head and keep the hands above our lower back. But this is where the true work happens, right? I really want you to squeeze the balls and really control the movement and control the descent towards your lower back, and then lift them up, exhale, exhale, rotate, bring them up and over, close to your forehead, bend the elbows, and control on the back of your head. So take a big breath in. Side out. And let's start with the next inhale. Lift the hands up. Expand, stretch the elbows, internally rotate, bring the arms open over. Close to your lower back, control it, lower down. Lift your arms up, extend the elbows, externally rotate the shoulders, bring the arms up and over, keep the height, don't allow them to collapse. Slowly start bending your elbows, bring the hands behind your back, your head. Lift them up, extend your elbows, internally rotate and move your arms towards the back. Slowly start bending your elbows. Keep fighting for that height, control into your lower back. One last time, lift them up, extend your elbows. Externally rotate, bring the arms up and over, keep squeezing those balls, slightly start bending the elbows, keep fighting for the height and in control, lower down to the back of your head. Give it a bit of a squeeze. Now we're going to do something that is called the sleeper stretch. So you're going to grab a block and you're going to get a dumbbell. The dumbbell is to use it afterwards. We are going to we're going to move into internal rotation of our shoulder. So we're going to try to, first, we're going to find a stretch and we're going to stay there for 60 seconds to feel the stretch. And then we're going to do piles and rattles. So we're going to do isometric work. And then we're going to do piles that's going to be pressing away. And rattles is going to try to fight for more internal rotation. After one set of piles and rattles, we are just going to do some capsule cars with weight. And then we swap to the left side. So you're going to lay down on your side, place the head on the top of the block. I like to have the knees in a 90 degrees angle, but it's not really entirely mandatory if you want to have them a bit curved. I try to have the hip aligned with your shoulder, okay? So basically you should be in the same line. My hip aligned with the shoulder, aligned with the head. You're going to bring the right shoulder in a 90 degrees angle. And you're going to try to retract your scapulas. So, which means try to squeeze the tissue and the muscles that is behind your scapula. So bring your scapula into the back. And then slowly bring your arm into internal rotation. Whatever that looks like, okay? We all have degrees of internal rotation that are completely different as in any other joint, but some people might be in here and some people might even be in here. So find what is your degree of internal rotation. And then you're going to place the left hand on the top and see if you find a stretch. It's not entirely mandatory that you will feel a stretch. You should feel it like in the front of on the top and in the front of the shoulder. And we are just going to stay here for a minute. Just allow a bit of weight of your left hand on the top of the right to go deeper into the stretch. And then after these 60 seconds of finish, we're going to do piles and rattles, which means piles. I want you with your right hand to press into the left, like you really want to open up your arm like this in external rotation. However, your left hand is not going to allow it. So you're going to be pressing into the left, but there's no movement. So there's no change in the length of the muscle. So you're doing an isometric work. And you're going to be pressing into the left for 30 seconds. And then immediately after the 30 seconds, we're going to move into rails, which means you're going to try to move your right hand away from the left. So you're going to try to squeeze, try to bring your right arm into more internal rotation, away from your top hand. Then you're going to stop in here and find another stretch, okay? So these piles and rails, the intensity, I want you to go, I don't want really a low intensity, but I don't want you to go as much as possible, right? So let's try to find for maybe like a 50% maximum capacity of effort, which sometimes it's really hard to understand how much that is, especially if we are not really used to do it. But let us say that you are actively trying to get out of this position and you start to feel quite a bit of tension coming into your shoulder and even in your tricep. So I want it to be challenging but doable, okay? So just don't really go in the super low intensity. Okay, so take a big breath in, side out, take another big breath in. And now slowly start pressing the right hand into the left. So slowly start ramping up. So start slowly pressing into the left, slowly. Now start to increase a bit more the tension into the left hand. And building up, so try to see if you are reaching your 50%, which means that after that you are still comfortable, but you are still already feeling the burn inside of your capsule joint. And in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, right. So you're going to try to really squeeze that tissue and try to actively bring your right hand away from the left in more internal rotation, okay? So keep squeezing, don't give up. Keep squeezing, keep squeezing, keep squeezing. You have 10 more seconds to go. Keep actively trying to find more internal rotation. And in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, place a hand on the top. Find eventually a new depth. We are all different. Just for 5 more seconds in here. And release. Now you grab your weight, whatever that it is. If it's a water bottle, it's a water bottle. But as you're going to see, that's why I don't really want you to go super heavy, because after this, your shoulder is going to be a bit tired. And we're going to do just 10 in here. 1. So we're going to move into internal rotation. Try to control. So we are not really allowing the weight to control us. We are controlling the descent and control the ascent. 2. Slowly going down and in control. Slow, 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 slow. Find your internal rotation. Stay there for 1, 2, 3 seconds and slowly coming up. 3. On the way down, you know your end range, so take the time that you need. When you find your end range, stay there for 1, 2, 3. Slowly come up. 4. Do the rest at your own pace. And we meet in the end once we finish the 10. Okay, I finished it up my 10. And let's move into our left side. And we're going to do exactly the same. So move, find your 90 degrees angle with your legs. Find like a more or less a straight spine between your hips and your shoulder and your head and your cervical. Gently retract the scapula. Lift your forearm and then slowly find your internal rotation. Place the right hand on the top and let's stay here for 60 seconds. And after the 60 seconds, we're going to do piles and rails in the same way. If you don't feel any stretch, it's okay. If you feel, just enjoy. You can always play a bit with your scapula. If you feel that you don't find any stretch, try to protract the scapula, which means like try to bring the shoulder into the front or retract even more. There's always ways to feel the stretch because our body is different, so just explore. And now we're going to move into piles and rails. So take a big breath in, sigh it out, take another inhale. Create tension now. Try to bring the left hand into the right. Keep squeezing gently into the right. And give a bit more tension. So try to open, to give you a bit more, with more effort. And now slowly increase a bit more the effort. And you should be already starting to feel a good stretch and a good activation. And in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, move into right. So try to find more internal rotation. So open the right hand, release it, leave it where it is as a feedback, and try to squeeze for more internal rotation. So try to actively bring your left hand towards the floor. You have 10 seconds to go. Keep squeezing. Don't allow your forearm to open. Keep it at 90 degrees angle. And release. Place the right hand on the top and find a new end range. And we're just going to stay here for 10 seconds more. Grab your dumbbell. And we're going to do exactly the same thing. So we're going to move into internal rotation, find your internal rotation. Stay there for 1, 2, and 3, and bring it up. Control all the way down and all the way up. Do it at your own pace and meet me once you finish the 10. And see if you feel the stretch in your shoulder. And release if you finish. Give a bit of a shake. And now let's move into our elbows. So you're going to grab your stick or the cable of your broom, whatever that you have. And then you're going to, with the right hand, you're going to place it not entirely halfway, but give like one hand, one palm into the side. And we are in pronation, which means that our hand is facing down. And we're gonna lock, I don't want our forearm, like the upper body, I don't want our shoulder to enter in the movement. So I'm squeezing my triceps in my biceps against my upper body. So I'm locking in. And I'm gonna try to move my wrist in. My wrist, no, my hand in, okay? So I'm gonna show you sideways. So I'm locking my elbow and my shoulder into my upper body because I want the movement just to come from my elbow. My hand is in pronation, grabbing the stick, and I'm gonna rotate in. So I'm gonna rotate towards the midline. But I want you to make sure that the rotation comes from the elbow, not from the wrist. So once you feel, so when you are rotating, and once you see that your wrist is taking over, which means that, for example, you will see around here in your thumb, these muscles and these ligaments kind of like twisting, moving. It means that you are moving into your wrist and not into your, and you are getting out of your elbow. So keep your wrist stable. Your wrist is really gripping on the bar to avoid collapsing. So don't relax your thumb, especially because if not, your wrist is gonna do the work. So like squeeze in, allow the forearm to twist in, squeeze those fingers into the stick, don't allow your wrist to come in, and you start to feel eventually a stretch around the forearm. And we're gonna stay here for like 30 seconds. And then from here, we are gonna do piles and rails, which means we're gonna place the left hand on the top of the stick. And piles, we are gonna press for 15 seconds into the stick as if we wanna do this, okay? We are actively trying to move our hand into external rotation, but our left hand is not gonna allow. So I'm gonna really squeeze into this palm for 15 seconds, low intensity, and then rails. Because we are at an hour hand range, I just want you to find 4 more rotation from your elbow. Like try to squeeze for more in rotation by contracting all these muscles in here to do the rotation and not the wrist. So keep your grip really active into the stick to not allow your wrist to enter in the movement. Okay, so now allow the squeeze everything in and find what is your hand range, which means squeeze those fingers into the stick. You have the thumb is quite active, left hand on the top of the stick, and now from here for 15 seconds, okay, just for 15 seconds, you're gonna slowly squeeze up, okay? So let's keep now, try to move that arm into external rotation. Your left arm is not gonna allow. So squeeze a bit harder, so try to build up, ramping up the intensity. And in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, try to see if you can go more into rotation. Keep actively squeezing your fingers into the stick and try to find more internal rotation. So try to squeeze more of these muscles in. And release. So you should feel all of this on your forearm, all these muscles of your forearm on fire. 15 seconds, it's really enough for this to be on fire. Now let's move to the other side. Because today we're just gonna do pronation, we are not gonna do supination. So the same thing, see where is more or less the middle, and move one palm into the left side. Squeeze your Upper arm into the body. Squeeze those fingers into the hand, into the stick. Don't allow your thumb to go to sleep because we don't want the wrist in this exercise. So find where you can't go further, and this is mine, rotation of my left elbow. Place my hand on the top of the stick. Let's take a few more breaths in here. And in 3, 2, 1. So try to bring your left hand into external rotation. Right hand is not allowed. So you're squeezing really hard. Keep squeezing. You have 5 more seconds. Squeeze really hard. And in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Try to move away from your hand, squeezing those forearm muscles. Your fingers are quite active. Don't really let go your thumb to go to sleep. Squeeze for 3, 2, 1. Release. And this is what we are trying to work. It's all these muscles that give the ability of rotation of our elbow. And obviously we are also targeting our capsule, the capsule of our elbow in this movement. To finalize, because we are just already passing the 25 minutes, we are just going to do low intensity 15 seconds piles and rails for our wrist. Which means you're going to, the left hand, you're going to gently, so first you're going to bring your forearm to the front, more or less in a 90 degrees angle, and you're going to flex your wrist. And you're going to check actually what is your degree of flexion. Don't use your fingers, keep your fingers straight with your palm. With the other opposite hand, with the left, you're going to try to find a bigger depth. Okay, so you're going to force into this deeper stretch. If this is not available to you, you just stay where we are. So if this is enough, if you can't go from here, you stay in here, okay? And if you feel that if you go really into full extension of the wrist, of flexion, you don't really need to, and if it causes pain, you just reduce a bit and you stay close to the borderline where you feel the pain and when you don't feel the pain. You don't want to be working into pain. And from here, we are going to do for 15 seconds piles and rails, which means that we are going to press our fingers, my right fingers, my right palm is going to press into the left, and I'm not going to allow it. So it's almost like a prayer position. And then rails, I'm going to try to squeeze all these muscles, all this tissue on the top of my wrist and in my forearm to actively bring my hand into a deeper stretch without the help of the left. I know that this might sound a bit weird in the very beginning, if you never made this. So place the palms a bit like in a prayer position, right? And now let's slowly start pressing the right into the left. It's a low intensity, so don't just gently squeeze, maybe like at a 20 to 30% maximum capacity. Keep squeezing, keep squeezing, keep squeezing. And in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, release the left and really squeeze those muscles to try to bring your wrist into a deeper flexion. So try to squeeze, 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 and release. So you should feel all these muscles and all this tissue contracting to do the movement. And obviously, if this causes pain, you work in the pain-free area, okay? Now let's move to the other side. And let's do exactly the same. So gently start squeezing the left into the right. low intensity. Find it your 20 to 30, keep squeezing. Into the right, don't allow it, and in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, try to squeeze all the tissue behind your left hand. Keep squeezing, you should see your forearm active, and try to bring your hand into more, your wrist in morning station. Keep squeezing, keep squeezing, keep squeezing, and release. Give it a bit of a shake. And if you have more time, you can repeat the class again, or just do some shoulder and elbow and wrist cars to recheck after this class. Thank you for practicing with me. See you in the next class.